Here's a neat little study. Some people actually believe that we never went to the moon, that actually the whole experience of astronauts going to the moon was fabricated using photographic techniques in a soundstage, say, in Hollywood. So let's investigate this theory that we actually, I mean, there's no way that human beings could actually think about going to the moon, right? I mean, how could we actually do all this? Just, beyond our capability, right? So let's investigate this possibility that maybe this is true. Well, those who believe this list 10 basic reasons of why we didn't go to the moon. And one reason is when the astronauts landed on the moon and they plant the flag, a flag appears to wave, and in fact there appears to be a wind on the moon. As we know, the moon should have no atmosphere. The moon has no atmosphere, so there shouldn't be wind on the moon. So there's no reason why the flag should wave in the wind, as it's looking like in this picture. And in fact, when the astronaut put the flag in, it also seemed to wave then as well. Well, actually, the flag was held in place by wires, and the NASA engineers wanted the flag to look like it was waving in the wind like it would on Earth. So they made the wires bend to make it look that way. And when the astronaut was putting it in the ground, that was adding energy to the pole, making it jitter back and forth, looking like it was in the wind. So this was not really a good reason to think that we didn't go to the moon. Well, here's reason number 9. Wouldn't the radiation exposure kill the astronauts? Because with no atmosphere on the moon, the radiation from cosmic rays and from the sun would kill them. I mean, there'd be no protection like we have on Earth. So how could they survive on the moon? This would be a problem only if there were a solar flare towards the moon, and also the exposure on the moon was only a few days. The astronauts were only on the moon for a few days, so they got exposed maybe to the equivalent of a lifetime of dental x-rays. But there was a scare during one of the missions, I believe it was Apollo 16, where the sun was particularly active, and there was an active solar flare, and it was believed by some accounts or some calculations that when the sun turned in the direction of the moon, that it might flare in that direction, in which case that would have been a major problem for those astronauts who were on the moon at that time. Possibly would have been a life or death situation because there's no protection against a solar flare type exposure. So that was a little bit of a scary time. Well, here's reason number 8. How could you even have film on the moon? Wouldn't it fry due to the extreme heating conditions on the solar side of the moon? Well, the film was protected. I mean, and the missions were conducted at lunar dusk or dawn. So the extreme conditions of the daytime side of the moon were mitigated. So this was not a problem at all. Well, here's reason number 7. Multiple angle shadows in the moon photos prove that there was more than one source of light, like a large studio lamp. Well, the answer to this is the missions were conducted at lunar dusk or dawn, mainly to reduce the effects of the daytime heat and near hilly terrain. So, like any other photographic effects, when you're near dusk or dawn, you're going to have differing shadows and weird shadows happening. For instance, here's a picture. Neil Armstrong's shadow is longer than Buzz Aldrin's, and this conspiracy theorists would say, well, this is proof that there are different lights from the studio. But the reason for this is Aldrin is located higher up on a hill, so his shadow is going to be shorter. Armstrong is actually 10% taller than Aldrin, so he would have a longer shadow because he's just a taller person. And the sun is low on the horizon, and so anytime you have the sun low on the horizon, you can get all sorts of unusual shadow effects. So this is a photographic effect that you can always observe on Earth as well if you were trying to take pictures near a sunset. Here's another look with the sun as the only source of light. Buzz Aldrin's shadow is lighter than the shadow projected on the ground. In other words, we can see his suit very well, and we see this dark shadow on the ground here. Would that not be evidence that there were studio lights projecting down on Buzz Aldrin? Well, light is reflected off other things, and the suits were very reflective. But you also have the lunar lander right there, so light from the sun is being reflected off that and is being reflected towards the astronauts. You have the moon, which is reflecting light. So there's other sources of light, not just the sun, and hence that can illuminate in other ways. The suit is reflective. And you see this kind of effect every day, all the time, photographic effect as well. So it's, you know, if you just do a little bit of photography or just observe lighting conditions, you would see this effect all the time. The moon's surface fades off in the distance and is fuzzy at the horizon. With no atmosphere on the moon, shouldn't it be clear? Because atmosphere shouldn't make it fuzzy. Well, this is just a photographic effect as well, because the camera is focused on the astronaut and not focused on the horizon. So the local light is brighter in the area of the astronaut. Simple photographic effect. Anytime you focus on a subject, the surrounding perimeter becomes fuzzier. And here's a look at more of the lighting conditions with the lunar lander right there. We're not done with this though. We're looking at Buzz Aldrin, and his visor shows strange equipment, like maybe a tripod and maybe a studio lamp. His visor is giving away the fact that this is possibly in a Hollywood soundstage, not on the moon itself. Well, if we look closer at the visor, that tripod-looking thing is actually the lunar lander in a curved mirror effect, and we can see Neil Armstrong taking the picture. So we only see the astronaut, the moonscape, and the lunar lander. There are no special photographic stage equipment there. Convex mirror-like object. Reason number 6 for why we did not go to the moon. To leave a footprint requires moisture, doesn't it? And we see this footprint on the moon, and we know there's no water on the moon. So, we got you. How can you have a footprint with no water? Well, the moon dust is very fine grains, and if you have very fine grains, even with no water, the grains will stick together, just like talcum. So it's possible that you would have a footprint like this, even in the absence of water. But that doesn't explain these footprints, the bare footprints on the moon. So maybe there was a studio. Just kidding. Reason number 5 for why we didn't go to the moon. Superfast micrometeors would punch through the spacecraft and kill the astronauts. Well, this is a concern, but space is really vast, and this possibility is remote. And the astronaut suits have many layers to help stop small particles that might punch through. So there's like 14 layers in the suits, and so if particles were to hit them, hopefully some of those layers would stop the progression of those particles. Reason number 4 for why we didn't go to the moon. There's no crater at the landing site. Here's a picture of the lunar lander. There's no crater. What about the impact of the lunar lander with the moon? Well, it's the moon's gravity is 1/6 the gravity of the Earth, so it's not going to be like an impact with the Earth. And here you can see there's packed rock underneath this dust. The lander has pushed the dust away, and there's some orange discoloration due to the landing effects. So indeed, there are landing effects there, and so this is not really a good reason for why we didn't go to the moon. Reason number 3, in the pictures of the Apollo 17, there actually were pictures of the lunar lander and lunar module exploding on takeoff from the moon, and the camera panned on the module as it went up into the sky. I don't have a movie of that here, but the camera actually panned with the lunar module as it went up into the sky. Would that require a camera crew to actually pan with the object as it's going up into the sky? Good question. That's why it's reason number 3. Well, how am I going to get out of this? I don't know. I'm stuck. What's I need to do? Well, I think we're stumped here. In fact, here's a picture of the camera crew that actually went and took these pictures. So we're stumped. Now, actually, the camera on the moon was run by remote control, so there was a camera operator in Houston who electronically sent signals to move the camera as the lunar module was going up into the air. So this actually was not a reason why we didn't go to the moon. Well, here's reason number 2 for why we didn't go to the moon. Here's the lunar rover, and it's huge. The rover is too big to fit on the lunar module. There's no way we could have transported that to the moon and get it there. Good point. Except that the rover actually folded it up into the size of a suitcase. It had wire wheels, and it folded up into the size of a suitcase. Amazing device, and hence it could have been transported on the lunar module. But that does not explain why this truck, the semi-truck, is on the moon. How did that get there? There's no way. So that one is hard to explain. Here's reason number 1 for why we didn't go to the moon. No stars in the sky. I mean, if there's no atmosphere, you should see the whole sky full of stars. Well, in the true picture, there actually are stars. You can see plenty of stars in the sky. You can see all of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Laurel and Hardy over here. I think Waldo's probably in there somewhere. Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, there's Waldo over there. Plenty of stars in the sky. Now, actually, light pollution on the day side of the moon mitigates the fact that the photograph would pick up stars. You'd have the same problem if you try to take a picture of our sky and you were trying to take pictures of stars. They would come out black. So it's just a photographic effect. The astronauts reported seeing a very beautiful sky full of stars with the Earth in that sky, and that would be a great sight to see if you actually were on the moon. So, sorry to say, none of these reasons are good reasons why we didn't go to the moon. In fact, the main reason why we did go to the moon, or best proof, is the laser that can be reflected off the reflectors that were placed there by the astronauts. So you can send a laser, reflect it off a reflector, come back to you, and the only reason that could happen is that those reflectors were placed there by the astronauts themselves. So we did go to the moon.